Yo, what's up, people? It's your boy, I'm Christodon1, and I am back with another video. I promise you guys I was going to do a review on Drake's album, Scorpion. It dropped last Tuesday, so we're about to get into it. Before we begin, Drake said in an interview that he was going to explain the accusations that he has a secret child and he doesn't want the world to know, and he got a porn star, a softcore porn star pregnant. I believe her name is Sophie, and I remember her saying tweeting this on social media, and a lot of people doing videos on it, that Drake has a kid, but everyone just threw it out the window saying, well, this can't be true, because there was another girl who claimed that she was pregnant by Drake. And so when that news dropped, as well as the Sophie news dropped, a lot of people thought that this wasn't true. All right. Because Drake never confirmed nor denied it. Now, ever since Pusha-T came out with that diss song, that, yes, I have receipts, and Drake is a father, and he got a porn star pregnant. Now Drake had to respond to these accusations. He also stated in a recent interview that he was going to explain why he kept his son from the spotlight and from social media, why he didn't announce that he was a father, that he has a kid. Okay, so the A side was for the hardcore, grimy beats, for the lyrics, for the guys out there who pay attention to details with the lyrics, with the beats. It was making a point. It had a jagged edge to it. And the B side was for the ladies. It had a smooth, mellow tone rhythm to it. It was more R&B, quiet storm. It was from the A side to the B side, you got the very best of Drake. Things he does well with the hardcore music, you got those elements on the A side. And when he gets into his tempo, his singing, you got the very best from Drake from the B side. I felt like Drake was trying to please everyone with this double album. All right. Now, as far as explaining to the world through this album why he did what he did with his child, he sort of said it in a lyric that he wasn't trying to hide his child from the world. He wanted his child to have a life and wanted to have a regular life. So that's the reason why he never confirmed nor denied that he indeed had a baby by this. He got a porn star pregnant. I hate to call her a porn star, Sophie, pregnant. And as far as the deadbeat accusations, he's not a deadbeat dad. We all know that. Drake is not going to be a deadbeat dad, but he sort of casually explain the relationship that he has with Sophie. Is not the very best relationship, because there was reports out there floating around that he wanted Sophie to have an abortion. She chose not to, and then that's when it started spiraling downhill. Okay, clearly he's not ready to be a father. All right, but he also understands he's going to take ownership of his responsibilities. So we got a small glimpse of Drake's life, and Drake he has pretty much the same life when you're talking about being co-parents as all guys out there. And a lot of guys can relate to this, baby mama drama. A lot of people want to coin the term baby mama drama. And the relationship is not on stable ground. It's more so on shaky ground. So there was a lot of songs illustrating the struggle with him and Sophie. All right. They don't see eye to eye on a lot of things. And I do feel like when time goes on and they get a lot older, and when the child gets older, I think the relationship is going to get better. So they're going to have to create boundaries, and they're going to have to respect one another. And once they start respecting one another, they'll have a better relationship. Okay. But that's neither here nor there. Let's go more into the album itself. Now, though he had a lot of features, but the two important ones I want to talk about is Jay-Z and Michael Jackson. Now, I thought I would never hear Drake and a Jay-Z song again, because him and Jay-Z have differences of opinion, and that's why I thought that maybe their relationship isn't as great as what people thought it was going to be. So they sort of have a competition with one another that sometimes gotten kind of personal. So when I saw that Jay-Z was featured in one of Drake's albums, I was like, wow, I thought that would never come to the fold of things. And it was a great song. It was a good song. The Michael Jackson one I really like. And when it started, it had a mixture of a smooth ballad. It kind of reminded me of Librarian Girl. A lot of you guys out there don't know what Librarian Girl is. It's a song that Michael Jackson produced on his Bad album. It had that undertone to it, but in actuality, it was a song that Michael Jackson hasn't released yet. Okay, so Drake got the hook from Michael Jackson. He sprinkled his Drake magic into it, and it's a great song. I see like this song is going to be on the charts as well as the Jay-Z song. But Survivor, I like Survivor. I also liked oh shoot, I can't think of that. The Finesse song. I wasn't a big fan of Nice for What, and I'm upset. God's Plan was sort of, that's the popular track that was popular on in the top 40, and that was the essence of Drake at his better. That's the best performance of Drake you got. God's Plan most recently, and that came out, and then the Look Alive came out. So he always had a song that the pop heads and the dance heads and the females can relate to, as well as the fellas, the hardcore hip hop fans can relate to God's Plan. But if they didn't like God's Plan, Look Alive was out there, Nice for What was out there. It is what it is. Now, what I thought about this album overall, I felt like with a lot of artists, when they put a lot of content out, the first thing I say to myself, it's okay to put out a double album. I have no problem with that, or putting out an album with a lot of songs, as long as you're not trying to please everybody. And I felt like Drake was trying to establish and mend relationships by trying to please everybody. He tried to please the pop fans. He tried to please the hardcore hip hop fans. He tried to please the females out there. He tried to please social media out there. He also had a lot of questions as far as his secret child, and he tried to please those accusations in the blog atmosphere out there. And I felt like he was doing a little bit too much with this album. All right. I think this is a good album. I'm not saying it's a bad album, but I have heard better production from Drake when you compare this album to his other albums. Now, only time will tell. This album is breaking records as we speak, as far as streaming. A lot of people are downloading this album. So a lot of people are grabbing this album and they're on your smartphones right now. But to me, I felt like Drake was doing too much with this album, trying to have interweave messages through this album, trying to poke fun and throw shots at Kanye through this album. He was doing way too much You know, and it wasn't a full-blown shot. There was not a song on there where that song was dedicated to Kanye or Pusha-T. He never even mentioned Pusha-T or Sophie. There was a couple of lyrics sprinkled in here or there in a couple of tracks about the child and about his relationship with Sophie. But that was just about it. You know, he also talked about, I think there's a song called Stronger. The incident with him and Puffy, the altercation that he had with Puffy. Okay. So, it's a good album. I'm not saying it's a bad album, but I have heard better material from Drake. Okay. But it's still a good album. Is it worth downloading? Is it worth buying? Is it worth listening to in a stream? Yeah. Spotify, whatever your streaming services are. Yes, it's a good album for that occasion. I think it's the best album in the past a couple of weeks. Okay, it's better than Nas, but everybody's shitting on Nas. I think Nas' album is overall it's a good album. The Tina Taylor, whatever her name is, the dancer in that Fade video of Kanye's, I think hers is a decent album. It's worth listening to a couple of times. Okay, but if you're talking about on the market today, is there anything better than Scorpion? No. Even the Jay-Z and Beyonce collaboration album isn't as good as Scorpion. All right. So everyone's riding the Scorpion wave right now. It's a good album in those categories, but when you compare it to the albums Drake has already put out, I think I can find a lot of albums that Drake has put out through the years that's better than this album. Now, also a fun fact, with this album, he's now a free agent. He's no longer with Young Money. So he can he fulfilled his contract. He can re-sign to Young Money or do his own label. I think he's going to do his own label. And Apple is really going to be supporting him. I think a lot of his content from the foreseeable future with him and his other artists are going to premiere on Apple before anywhere else. So he's going to get that exclusive deal there. He's also going to get a great distribution deal with whoever. I think it's going to be Universal Music. He has a great relationship with them, either Universal or Sony, one of those two. And from now to the foreseeable future, he's going to release his content that way. He's going to make everyone happy business wise. Okay, but I like the album. It wasn't a bad album, but it was all right. All right. But guys, tell me what you think. Rate, comment, subscribe. It's your boy. I'm Christodom1, and I am out of here. Deuces.